I'm getting an error. 1 second, guys. We're just getting set up. All right, perfect. Okay, I think we are live on StreamYard, and yeah, it looks like we're live on Instagram as well. I'll just give it another minute, and I'll introduce myself in the meantime. My name is Catherine Del Rosario. I'm an attorney here at McEntee Law Group. We are a Chicago-based law firm that specializes exclusively in U.S. immigration law. I myself practice both family-based and employment-based immigration. And someone from our team likes to hop on here at the beginning of every month to talk about recent news in immigration as well as answer any questions that you might have. So if you're watching this on Instagram, feel free to pop your questions into the comments. And we were sent some questions ahead of time as well, so I'll also answer those. Okay. Let's see. I just want to make sure that I'm still live where I'm supposed to be before I move ahead. Okay. Liz, if you're watching, if you want to give me a thumbs up if that I'm still live on Instagram, that would be awesome. I think I am, but I just want to be sure. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to troubleshoot this real quick. Okay. Okay, it says I'm live, but I don't see myself. Let's see. In the meantime, feel free to DM us any questions that you might have. A couple of the topics that I know are like top of mind for people are the diversity visa lottery, as well as parole in place, which is the Biden administration's new program for undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens and certain stepchildren. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time here.
I'm just pressing it on the desktop.
Yeah.
And it's still not working. It might be an Instagram issue.
Here, I'm going to redo it now.
I'll just do this.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Okay.
Don't do it like that.
Oh,
there we go.
All right.
You'll have to press it.
Okay. Okay, thanks, guys. Here we go, going live on Instagram. Okay, we'll try this again. Hi, I'm Catherine Del Rosario. I'm an immigration attorney here with McEntee Law Group. We are based in Chicago and we practice exclusively US immigration law. I myself practice both family based and employment based immigration. And we like to hop on here at the beginning of every month to talk about recent immigration news, as well as talk through any questions that you all might have. So as I'm going through the news part and the questions that were sent to us ahead of time, you can also feel free to put your questions into the comments and I'll answer those as well. Thanks for bearing with us through some technical difficulties. And I think we're ready to get started. Okay. So I know top of mind for a lot of people right at this time of year is the diversity visa lottery. So I'm going to chat about that, as well as updates to EB1 eligibility criteria for those who are of extraordinary ability. And then I also wanted to kind of give a status update on the Parole in Place program. And we have a couple of announcements at the end too. But again, feel free to add your questions to the comments. Okay, so the Diversity Visa Lottery. This is the Department of State's program that every year they administer visas for immigrants from countries that have historically low rates of immigration to the United States. So for the next fiscal year, there will be up to 55,000 diversity visas available. And there's no cost to enter yourself or your family members into this lottery. But the people who are selected will be scheduled for an interview and then will need to later pay a visa fee. So there are a couple of, there's not a lot of requirements to enter, but there are strict requirements. So the first one is that you are a native of a country that has historically low rates of immigration to the US. And so when you think of kind of countries that have high numbers of immigrants, you'll want to double check the State Department's list to make sure that you are actually eligible to apply. And we've had a couple questions about this, like what if I live in a country that doesn't have historically high immigration rates, but I'm not a citizen of that country? Well, the diversity visa requires that it's based on the country that you were born in, not the country that you live in. And there's an exception to that. So if you are married to another foreign national, you can claim their country of birth if they're from a country that does qualify, as long as you and your spouse are named on the lottery selection, and that you're selected and otherwise eligible. You can do that. So that's called cross chargeability. But if you are simply a resident of a country that's eligible and not born there, then that wouldn't work. And the second requirement is that each diversity visa entrant has to meet education and work experience requirements. So you have to have either at least a high school education or its equivalent, or 2 years of work experience within the last 5 years in a job that requires at least 2 years of experience to perform. And so to double check that, you'll want to talk to an attorney just to make sure that that your work experience or education does meet that requirement. So anyone who's interested in entering the Diversity Visa Lottery or the DV Lottery should submit their entries electronically at dvprogram.state.gov. And the window to do that is Wednesday, October 2nd, 12 Eastern Time. So it's open until Tuesday, November 5th, also 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And then starting on May 3rd, you'll be able to check the status of your entry. Again, instructions, very specific instructions about the lottery are going to be on travel.state.gov. The second kind of news update I wanted to talk about is that USCIS, which is the agency that issues immigration benefits like petitions, green cards, they issue new guidance about the EB1 category. So this is the criteria for individuals with extraordinary ability. or if you're an outstanding professor or researcher, or a certain multinational executive or manager. So there are certain requirements that have to be met for each category. And this new guidance is meant to kind of clarify how you can demonstrate that you are, in fact, extraordinary. So there are a list of 10 criteria, and you have to meet at least 3 of those criteria. So, just to give you an example, if you can provide evidence of your membership in associations in the field which demands outstanding achievement of their members, if you have published material about you in professional or major trade publications or major media, if you've authored scholarly articles in major trade publications, if your work has been displayed at exhibitions or showcases, or if you have a performance of a leading or critical role in a distinguished organization, or if your role demands a very high salary. These are just some examples, and the new guidance gives um, more detail about what that criteria looks like. So you can refer to the uscis.gov website for that clearer guidance. And we're actually going to um, be doing a webinar coming up soon about employment-based options in general. It's going to be called the Hello webinar because my colleague Ryan is going to go through a few different visa types, including H-1Bs, Es, Ls, and Os. So, Hello webinar. That's going to be coming up. Let me find you the link. So we're going to be sharing the link soon to just attend and register. It's going to be on the 23rd at noon Central, Chicago time. Okay. I'm just going to check if any questions have come through. Okay, some people asked some questions ahead of time, so I will address those. A lot of people are wondering what's going on with the new Parole in Place program. So basically, just to review, this is a program created by the Biden administration to provide a pathway to a green card and work authorization for certain spouses of US citizens, as well as stepchildren. Normally, if you are married to a US citizen, you could apply for your green card here in the United States, along with work permit and travel permit. However, if you don't have a valid entry in the United States, into the United States, you have to follow a much different process, which requires you to be separated from your family for what could be a few weeks. In some worst cases, it could be longer. And so, to kind of reduce the risk and possibility of having to be separated, the Biden administration created this program where you can apply for what's called parole. And when you think of parole, you kind of think of like re-entering society. It's a similar idea in that you're asking the government to look at you and consider that you have entered the United States with a valid entry. And so that would allow you to then apply for a green card, just like everybody else. The process is a little different. You have to show that you are married to a US citizen as of June of this year, that you have been inside the United States for the last 10 years, that you don't have a serious criminal history, and there are other requirements as well. You might have heard that the applications opened up in August. And so we have, we know that many people have applied, but kind of as expected, there were certain state courts that sued, and now this program is in litigation. What this means is that the program is on pause. USCIS is still accepting those applications, but they're not approving or denying them. And what this looks like practically is that you can still submit your application. You will still be given a receipt acknowledging that USCIS has received your application, and you will still be scheduled for fingerprinting notice or fingerprinting appointment so that the government can do its normal background checks. But the process will sort of be at a standstill there until the court decides what to do next. So our best case scenario is that the injunction is lifted and USCIS can continue to approve cases. I guess second on that tier is that we are continue to be in this holding pattern. Another possibility is that the program could end and then, no benefits are granted. However, we're still in that holding pattern, and this lawsuit doesn't affect the parole in place applications that have already been approved. So if you are approved, they can't take that away from you, and you can proceed with the green card process if you're eligible. But for folks who have already applied and not heard anything or are thinking of applying, just know that that's what the risk is. You can certainly submit your application with the help of an attorney or an accredited representative. But as of right now, the government can't approve it yet. They can't deny it either. So it'll just kind of remain there until further notice from the courts. Okay, let's see. Another kind of item is if you were selected in the H-1B lottery last year, got your case submitted and it's been approved, you are now in H-1B status as of October 1st. So just a reminder to employers to update your I-9s by today, and a reminder to the foreign nationals as well, that new H-1B employees, make sure that you're always keeping your address up to date in your USCIS account. And for both of you, if there are changes to the H-1B employee's role, you'll want to let your attorney know. So changes to always remember are changes in location, decreases in salary, changes in job title or job role. All of these things could warrant an amendment to the H-1B. So not in all cases, but you'll want to run these changes by your attorney before they happen, ideally, so that we can advise. Okay. I'm open for questions. If you have them, send them on through. It is Filipino American History Month this month. I am Filipino American, so good luck for you. We can celebrate together. Let's see. And we're lucky to have a really strong Filipino American community here in Chicago. So I'm looking forward to this month's celebrations. All right. One other question I got was, do you have any travel tips for DACA recipients? This is a great question. DACA recipients, as a reminder, are those who have permission, who were brought here as children without valid status, and they have protection from deportation and ability to work temporarily. And so you have to renew that permission periodically. But it comes up inevitably that people need to travel. And so if you want to apply for travel, you can, but it's under certain conditions. So there are 3 purposes that are permissible, are allowed for DACA recipients to travel. And that is for humanitarian reasons, for professional, and then why am I blanking on the last one? Academic. So if you have like a sick relative, or you need medical treatment yourself that you can't get in the United States, that can be a humanitarian reason. Professional would be like if you were attending a training, seminar, conference abroad, that could work. And then academic. So if you want to participate in like a study abroad program or a research assignment, these are all valid reasons that we've had success with in applying for advanced parole. And so some things to note is that you have to provide proof of that reason, and we advise clients to also provide proof that they did the thing that they said they were going to do, so that on their way back to the States, when they're coming back through the airport or land crossing, that they have that proof with them that they complied with the requirements. And the travel permission, it's not open-ended. It's usually got a expiration date on it, so you have to travel and come back during that time. But it's really an incredible thing, not just to provide you an opportunity to travel, but let's say later on, if you might have a family-based option for a green card, um, having that entry into the States with the advanced parole could kind of ease or streamline your green card process later on. So it's actually a wonderful thing to consider for like long-term options and security in the States. So if you have kind of a reason to travel now, it would be great if you discuss that with an attorney or accredited representative and apply for that. Okay, let's see. Any other questions, guys? One that I've been getting a lot is, what are the kind of obligations of a joint sponsor when helping someone become a permanent resident? So I'll cover this because I think it's good to know. A lot of people kind of overlook their obligations or aren't quite clear about what it means when someone asks them to be a joint sponsor. But basically, when you're applying for a green card, the person who is petitioning you, so like your spouse or your adult child, your sibling, whoever it may be, has to show the government that they can support their immigrant relative if needed. And so they present their recent tax returns, their pay stubs, proof of their assets, what have you. And if for some reason your sponsor doesn't meet the income requirements for that, you can ask a third person to kind of serve as that financial sponsor. So both petitioner or joint sponsor, whoever is meeting the requirements, what does it mean for you to do that? So just so you understand, what you're signing when you sign that form is, it is a contract with the government that is saying that you promise to, in the event that the foreign national, when they become a green card holder, uses means tested public benefits, that the government can hold the petitioner or joint sponsor liable for that amount of money. So means tested benefits, some of examples, the common examples that come to mind are food stamps or cash assistance, Medicare, things like that. And so when you sign that document, that's what you're agreeing to do. In practice, it's rarely something that we see, because when someone gets their green card, they can work and they can advance in their career and their life. So it's not something that we see very often, but that is what you're signing on to do. And your obligation doesn't end until either that person works 40 credits, until they become a citizen, or until they pass. So it is a serious commitment that you're making, but you're the benefit to that person is that they're now able to live and work in the United States and presumably support themselves. So, but I thought I'd clear that up because it's a question that we get a lot. Okay. I don't see any other ones. Let me just double check. Okay. Yeah, that's all the questions I have for today. We kind of covered a wide breadth of topics. So if you ever, well, if you have questions about your specific situation, make sure that you contact us or any immigration attorney or accredited representative that's qualified to help you. Reddit is great, but it's also kind of my enemy because I know people refer to it a lot for immigration advice, and it's just not the place to go. Every person's case is different. Everyone's circumstances is different, and immigration policy changes a lot. So please talk to a licensed attorney or accredited representative about your case. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next month, the next first Friday. Bye-bye.